Over to you, Coach.
It's so funny, this time of year, everybody's exhausted, and then I thought to myself last night, I get to have another sleepless night. Isn't this great? I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful to be able to keep coaching this team. I'm so grateful to be able to watch a group of young women grow from being sort of doubtful individuals. I think they're really honest in that. It was sort of this unknown, and to have them grow into a very confident group of young women that play really well together. So I'm just excited to still watch that process and be a small part of it. And I have a lot of respect for Maryland. Brenda's just, I think I mentioned this yesterday, she's just built a program of sustained excellence. And that's something that I place at a very high value because, there's ups and downs, but when you can get a culture that consistently performs at a really high level, that's to be admired and respected. And I've respected that for many, many years.
Now open it up for questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Start with Ava.
Coach, you talked yesterday about when you were at Florida State, you obviously had a bunch of matchups against Maryland. What are your memories from those times, scouting those games? And I guess would you say defines Florida's teams?
Some of my most vivid memories from Florida State are these epic games versus Maryland. I remember when, I think it was Duran, we had a double overtime game down in Tallahassee that was just amazing, and we've had some great ones up here, obviously, when Tolliver and Langhorne and Harper and those years where they had so many great players. Somehow we ended up having these really great games, and those are really fun. That's what you enjoy in the competition of a great league. And I think there's just so many, but I just, they're really good. They recruit really well. They play at a really high level. They value rebounding and physicality. I always have admired that. They've just consistently been a very physical and a rebounding team. And adding the shooters that they have on this year's team, my goodness, they just have been a really great team. But, again, over a long period of time, you can trace that back. And I just think it's amazing what they've done.
Go back to Ava.
Yeah, sorry. About that history, I'm not sure if you knew, but the UCLA and Maryland will be the anniversary of that 1978.
Oh, I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah, UCLA won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about history of women's basketball and things like that. How cool is that? It'll be the 41st anniversary, I think, on Monday.
That's pretty amazing, and if I'm correct, and Dave Marcus was Denise Curry was in that game, correct?
Denise Curry was in that game, and I was in the stands.
Wow, and it's pretty neat. So, and Denise Curry is here and with us, and so having one of the people, she's a season ticket holder for us, and her and Annie Myers actually. And having Debbie Willie's on this trip, who was now Debbie Halliday, but her maiden name is Debbie Willie. So, here we have them here with us and that part of history. And we talk a lot about respect and represent in our program. Respect the opportunities that you've been given and represent the people that have come before you. And I think, wow, cool, we're walking in a trail that other people blazed. And I just think it's really big to be able to remember that we did not come at this alone. And that back in the day, here we have Denise traveling with us, and we charter here, and we have all these great meals, and they drove buses and had 4 to a room, and all these different things. And I think it's really good to pause and say thank you to the people that were involved in those games. Thank you to the people that really lived out Title IX at a really amazing, courageous way. That now we get opportunities that just would never have been here without their sacrifice and their courageous belief.
Come up here to the front, Dave.
Coach, same question I asked the ladies beforehand. You knock off Tennessee, now you got Maryland, perhaps Connecticut late in the wings. What do you think of this bracket, and what would it mean to you to take out two of the most, prominent programs in the sport?
Well, I think, there's one of our storied softball coaches at UCLA had this phrase that they're just shirts, right? To not, they're just, people have a jersey on, and people go and have to make plays, and teams have to go and do that. And I think it's a little bit dangerous. You want to respect that. They have earned that place in history. They've earned that with their excellence over a long period of time, but at the same time, it's just shirts. And the fact that they're putting those shirts on, those individual players and these two teams at this moment have to go and make plays together. And so, would it be meaningful? Yeah, because I want to keep coaching this team. But I try not to place too much on the name on the front of the jersey. Other than the fact of I want to represent it well with strong character and great play and teamwork and togetherness. But in terms of because somebody has a more storied history than someone else, to be honest with you, I don't really give it much thought.
Come to the middle.
Do you agree with the sentiment of Priest that the team seems more focused on the road or more prepared? Like, what's your assessment of that?
Well, it's hard to argue when you look at how our year has gone. She's got to be careful what she says. I'm going to be having them all in hotels at home and all these different kinds of things. But, I think there has been sort of this sense of focus that there's no external distractions. And, it's interesting because social media, it's not like they're ever far from their families or from people in their influence or whatever. But it's just something a little bit more tighter, and a little bit less going on. And I think all year long, it's just been incrementally. And then once you get a couple of huge road wins, we went at Arizona State, we get that big win. They were ranked 16th in the country. And then we go get triple overtime win at Arizona 2 days later. And then it starts with just building. And, then it becomes a little bit of a psychological edge that they feel like they've earned this confidence of being a great road team. I don't know if I can trace it all back, but my mom was like, I just am hoping and praying that you get to earn your way to a home game. I was like, Mom, don't be careful what you wish for. We're doing pretty well on the road. So I don't know. Every team, like you guys have referred to earlier, every team and every year is a little bit different. And I just think this team has sort of developed a little bit of an identity that they enjoy that challenge of being on the road, and they've found a way to work it to their advantage.
Come up here to the front.
Obviously, Maryland's freshmen have gotten a lot of attention this year, and for a good reason.
Absolutely.
But I want to ask you about another player, which is Kyla Charles. Going into tomorrow, what are your thoughts about how...
What number is she?
5.
There you go. Thank you. That's the disadvantage of being on the other side of the coast is I'm doing all my scouting by numbers and very rarely by name. I think, so versatile. She reminds me in some ways a little bit of Michaela in the fact she's explosive. She can, hit you in 3-level scoring, not maybe as much from the outside, but she's capable, but really aggressive. And when they go small and put her at the 4, she's a tough matchup. And she's obviously done a really good job. And she's definitely been someone who's gotten our attention in our scouting report for sure.
And going back to the freshmen, there's always a lot of talk every year about Brenda being really good at getting freshmen ready to play.
Yeah.
From coach to coach, like what does it take to get freshmen to play? Like what is that challenge like, and how have you navigated it?
Well, I think it is really hard, and so she deserves a lot of credit for that. On my staff is Shannon Perry, who was coaching on the Duke staff, where when Tolliver hit that step back, shot in the championship. So we know it well, and Shannon doesn't let us forget it. So. I think that, first of all, give her credit. I think that it is an art form. It's, when to try to push the buttons to make them really uncomfortable, to get them ready for battle, and then when to really build them back up and try to help them build their confidence and to know that they're capable. And it's not, I think it's really hard. I always say that every freshman wants to quit a dozen times and transfer a dozen times. It's just going to happen. I always say to parents, it is the hardest year of their life, but also the most growth-producing year of their life. And I think it's staying the course and building relationships. And I think that's something that Brenda's really good at, is that she believes in her process and she knows how to build relationships and sincerely invest in her players. And as a result of that, when those hard times come, she knows how to really build with them because she's done the relational work to be able to ride out the storms. And because there's going to be storms with freshmen. And I think that's been, really similar for us, is that every freshman's going to hit the wall. And to let them know that that's normal, that's okay. And this is when we call it the edge. When you get to the edge, when your talent runs out, and now you have to develop the discipline and skill to really, truly reach your potential. And to not see the edge as a bad thing, but to see that's when the really good stuff happens. And I think if you can really get that turned around in a freshman's mind, this is right about February, you start to see them round the corner, and now there's no freshman anymore come March.
We'll come back up to the front here with Dave.
Coach, you've said a lot of good things about Maryland. You've done a great job in your own right. Is there anything that you can glean from what Brenda's done? I just want to, sort of an old reference, but Lefty Driesell once said he wanted to make Maryland the UCLA of the East. Any thought about making UCLA
The Maryland of the
Yeah,
West.
indeed.
Well, I think that, it starts for me with Coach Wooden, right? And the consistency over a long period of time. And it started with recruiting and relationships. And I think that's why I admire Coach Wooden so much. And then he built in the culture and the discipline in his program to have the skill catch up with that. But it was foundationally started with relationships and recruiting. And I think that that's what Brenda has done as well. And that's something I really believe in. And she's been really great. I remember just as a human being, my second day on the job at Florida State, one of our players passed away suddenly. And I had just moved across the country and my head is spinning. And I remember distinctly being there and Brenda sending flowers and getting Sue on the phone. And I just know that Sue felt very cared for in that moment. And I just think that's about people, putting people first. And, I admire that she's done that in, what she's built with her family and what she's gone through with her son. I admire just the way that her players come back. I saw some of them in the stands here yesterday because it's putting people's hearts first. And that's something that I deeply believe in. So in that case, yes, I would love for us to be the Maryland of the West if we're able to be a program that puts people's hearts first and recruits at a really high level and then has a culture of growth that prepares them for life beyond UCLA. I'm always like, we got to help them be prepared for when the ball goes flat. Whenever that may be, they may have a long professional career, but we're going to put people's hearts first and we're going to prepare them for when the ball goes flat. And I definitely, over the years, have watched her and have gleaned things that I have definitely want to make characteristics of our program as well.